Hello, good morning. Today we are talking with Aoife Neylon from CLARE Language Centre from Ennis in Ireland. And thank you for being with us.
Lovely to speak to you in sunny Spain.
The first question is, March 2020 was a drastic moment for all businesses. And a year has passed since then and a lot of changes occurred. This first question, therefore, is how big was the impact to your business?
Impact for our school was huge, Andreas. Unfortunately, we have had no students in the school for over 12 months. We predominantly host junior students. So at the time that we were closed, we had groups in the school and we had to organise their departures. And since then, so since the 12th of March 2020, we have been unable to host any students due to travel restrictions and restrictions within Ireland. So in particular, our business and our school that's focused mostly on juniors has been hugely impacted. And I think now we're just trying to look to the future and remain positive. But it's basically been a very busy school that would have hosted over 2,000 students to no students at all for the last 13 months. So yeah, it's been a big impact and a big change, a big life change for everybody involved in the school.
Especially in the tourism sector, many clients had to cancel their language trips. So what did you do to survive?
Yeah, so I mean, at the time, of course, when we worked with all of our partner agents for about all of the bookings, we organised all of the refunds, we spoke to everybody personally, and since then, you know, we've been working on survival as an industry. To be honest, we as an association, so Marketing English in Ireland, which is called MEI, have been working quite closely with each other. So it's been quite good in terms of uniting all of the English language schools in Ireland. And what we have done is working, there's a specific group that's now working with the Government of Ireland. So our survival is based basically on the Government of Ireland supporting us to survive, because of course at the moment with the restrictions in Ireland, they will, you know, we aren't able to go now further than 20 kilometers from our house. So to receive international students is impossible. So in order to survive as an industry, what we've been doing is working with the Government of Ireland to try and build relationships, and also individually each school has been lobbying their local politician. So a lot of the work that I've been doing over the last over 12 months has been working with committees in Marketing English in Ireland, and working to support as much as possible the lobbying of the government to try and ensure our survival as an industry.
Before the pandemic, where did you get the students from? Usually like agencies or your website or recommendations? And was there a drastic change since then? Or
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Well, drastic change in everything. I think in the last year, there's been a drastic change in everything. But we work mostly with partners abroad. So we work very closely with our partner agents abroad. And the reason being that we work primarily with junior students, so with under 18s. As such, we consider it very important, the communication in the home country. So for us, it's really important that there is an agency in that country that is communicating everything properly to the parents, to the students, to, if it's a group, to the teachers, to the school. So for us, the relationship with agents is extremely important. Of course, we got some direct bookings, like for adult or family courses, we got some direct bookings, but mostly it was through agents and then recommendations. So for example, we've had we have one school group actually from close to where you're from that has been coming to our school for maybe over 15 years. So the same teacher who was a student is now a teacher and now brings a group. So we work very much on recommendations, in particular previous students that then maybe become agents or they become teachers, and then they recommend our school. And we've had groups that have been recommended by one teacher to another teacher, and which is really nice. And that's what we love. If we get a recommendation, it's really important for us because I suppose it means that you've done a good job. But yeah, when talking about normal life, it's all through agencies, really. The majority, I would say, maybe 95% of our business is through agencies. And that's how we want to work, really, because we consider that relationship very important, and we consider the relationship for the student and the agent very important too. So those relationships we work on very hard. The change since is there, well, like I said, there isn't much movement, so it's hard to tell. But I don't see much of a change for us as a school. I mean, we haven't moved everything online and trying to get direct. We're not trying now to get direct bookings, and we're still, you know, communicating regularly with our agents. So I don't see us shifting drastically. I feel like those relationships are extremely important for us, and I think that we will continue to work closely with our partner agents abroad. And I think it will continue to be important to support each other now, you know, more than ever. I think actually some of the relationships have probably become closer with agents because you have more time and you're speaking to them more regularly, and everybody is in a difficult situation. So I think probably we'll move forward in a more positive way, if anything.
I can point out that we had a group from Austria for you as well before the pandemic, and I got a really good feedback for your school.
They were great. Yeah, I remember them. Yeah, that was they were in August. They came in and they stayed in the residence. Yeah, they were great. We love seeing people come to our town. So I mean, Ennis is not a large city; it's a small town, in a very beautiful county in the west of Ireland. So we really love to see people coming. You know, it's very different to when you're in a capital or you're in a big city. You know, the whole town knows, oh, they're the students from our school, and we're the only school in the town. And you know, it's a pleasure for us to receive students. So I hope that shines through whenever we do receive your students.
Did you get any financial support from your country or other institutions so far?
So all businesses that have been extremely affected in Ireland, so throughout, no matter what sector you're in, all businesses have been offered support through the government. So there has been a certain amount of support given, and that is kind of allowing us to survive, really. Otherwise, you know, there would be a lot more closures of businesses in Ireland. At the moment, everybody pretty much, I mean, some businesses have closed, they've decided to close, but most businesses have remained open due to the support that we've been given by the government of Ireland. And one of the things that I had mentioned earlier, which is really important, is that we're continuing to look for that support. So we're working very hard as an industry because obviously the domestic market is going to open first in Ireland. You know, there's going to be, if the restaurants are told to open tomorrow, they can open their doors. Whereas for us, it's much more difficult. As you know, you have to plan a trip. There's a certain number of months before you can get students to come to your school, to book flights, to plan the whole itinerary, everything. And so we're working really hard now with the Government of Ireland to make sure that we have that continued support. And we're all trying to kind of, you know, push even on a local level with our politicians. But it really depends on what they can do and what they can continue to do, because economically, you know, obviously it's not viable to continue to support businesses to this degree either. So yeah, we've been surviving through support that we're hoping will maintain until we get to open our doors fully again.
Did you also have Erasmus Plus projects in your school?
Yeah, we have for a number of years. We get groups of teachers for teacher training that is funded through Erasmus Plus. We also have groups of students that come to do work experience. So they would stay from 5 to 12 weeks, and they would study in the school, and then they would do work experience in the afternoons, or sometimes it's full-time as well, and that's funded through Erasmus Plus. We've also had some really interesting group projects. So we've had groups of young people, kind of 16 to 19-year-olds, and they come over, they're given Erasmus Plus funding, and they come over and they do a project. So for example, we had a group that did a EU citizenship project. So they came over and they stayed with us for 3 weeks, and we did all of their projects and all of their activities based on EU citizenship. So we visited businesses that worked within the EU. We visited the Parliament in the European Parliament section in Dublin. We did project work on what it means to be a European and how it's important, and the importance of the European Union. And that was funded by Erasmus Plus as well. So we've got quite a bit of experience with Erasmus Plus, and it's something that we are working on, and we're hoping is going to expand, because the new priorities have been set out for 2021 to 2027. So we're working now on trying to promote our Erasmus programs, and we're hopeful that maybe those are the kind of courses that will come a bit quicker, because they're older students, and they're getting funded from Europe. So we're kind of hoping that will be something that will come in a bit quicker than maybe the junior groups or other kind of types of groups that we were used to having in school. Yeah.
Good. Last question. What are the perspectives for 2021 and 2022?
Yeah, it's interesting. So we have bookings for the summer. We have people who want to travel, and this is kind of keeping our hope alive. We get, I get phone calls every week from partners abroad, and I get bookings through in my email, and it keeps us hopeful. So we know that there's demand. We know that students want to come to Ireland to study English, that they want to come to our school. And the problem is the restrictions, and the problem is the lack of clarity, I think, from the government of Ireland, and the vaccination rollout. So we're hopeful that people want to travel. I think the perspectives are good, but maybe in the short term, it's a case of having to wait and see. The vaccination rollout is going quite slowly in Ireland. I think in Spain it's the same. It's a little bit slower than, well, obviously slower than the UK, and that is hopefully going to kind of change things a bit whenever the UK vaccination process is finished. We're hoping that maybe that will speed things up. But the government of Ireland has been very strict and very cautious. So we have spent the most amount of days in lockdown, I think, than any other country in Europe. As such, we are really waiting for the government to give us that green light to be able to open our doors and to be able to receive international students again. And so on the one hand, we have the demand and we know that people want to come, and on the other hand, we have to wait for the government to give us more information about when it will be possible to welcome students. So I think, it's a mixed bag. I'm hoping that this summer that they will allow something, that we'll be able to welcome a certain number of students, but we just have to wait and see, which is quite frustrating for all of us business owners, because we're spending all this time, trying to promote and trying to work on what would be possible, and we just have to wait for the government to tell us what we can and can't do, which is a hard place to be in, especially for people who are used to kind of planning and taking action. You have to kind of learn to be patient and to be at the mercy of the government. It's hard for everybody. I think it's one of the things that we've learned during lockdown, is that we have to sometimes just be patient instead of being able to take action. Yeah. So I'm hopeful. We're all hopeful in the industry as a whole. We're all very hopeful, because we know that people want to have the in-person experience, and we know that people want to continue to learn English. It's just difficult right now, to be able to fully promote something, because it's just so uncertain still.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for the interview, Aoife, and I wish you the best for your school, for you, for your family, for everyone around you. And I hope to talk to you soon, and have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andreas. Same to you. Take care. Bye-bye.